Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, Enhance Your Digital Skills with Daniel Scott. My name is Naomi Dixon and I'm the Membership Coordinator for the Society for Education and Training, or SET. We're the membership body dedicated to professionals working across further education, vocational teaching and training. We're part of the Education and Training Foundation known as the ETF. We host webinars like this one to help you learn from sector experts around your busy schedule. There are also opportunities for you to reflect on the professional standards, the ETF's common framework for effective teaching and training. Today, we'll be hearing from Daniel Scott, winner of the Learning Technologist of the Year Award 2016 by the Association for Learning Technology. He's also the author of Learning Technology, a handbook for FE teachers and assessors. He's a digital practice advisor at Nottingham Trent University, where he leads professional development opportunities for staff to engage and embed digital technology into their existing practices. And in this webinar, he's going to show you lots of practical tips on how you can move from passive to active use of digital tools. For those of you who enjoy the webinar and wish to purchase the book, for more information, Daniel has offered a 20% discount for SET members with the code, in capital letters, ETFLT19. I will circulate this information in the post-event email, so you don't need to remember it just yet. Now, before we get started, I want to make you aware of two resources available for teachers and trainers in the sector who wish to further their skills in digital learning and teaching. So the first is the Digital Teaching Professional Framework. That's a competency framework for teaching and training practitioners across all parts of the sector. Its purpose is to support innovation in teaching and training to improve learner outcomes and to make sure that you equip your learners for the changing world of work where using technology is becoming increasingly important. So in that framework is a range of statements that describe 3 stages of competence. So you're an exploring teacher or trainer, you're an adopting teacher or trainer, or you're a leading teacher or trainer. And they show you how practitioners can develop your skills so that you can steer your professional development. This new framework is also accompanied by free online bite-sized training modules through the enhanced digital teaching platform. So once you've used that framework to identify where you need to improve, you can then go ahead and actively start learning. So with this platform, there are some key features. So first is that, like we've said, they're free and they're bite-sized and they're mapped to the framework. The second is that there's a badge system, so you can earn badges to reward exploring, adopting and leading and celebrate your achievements. They're user-centred and they've got a mobile-first design, so you can access them anywhere at any time, and they do have facilities for you to build a community of practice, so you can connect with other people doing the same. And these modules are grouped into simple categories mapped to things that you should find relevant. So that's planning your teaching, approaches to teaching, supporting learners to develop employability skills, subject-specific and industry-specific teaching, assessment, accessibility and inclusion, and self-development. So again, I'm going to put all the links to these in your post-event email so that you continue your learning after this webinar. But for now, I'll hand you over to Daniel Scott.
Hello everyone, I'm Daniel Scott. I'm a digital learning specialist, and this is a webinar for Society for Education and Training. And as the title suggests, I'm just going to discuss very briefly, give some quick wins on how you can take your static / passive resources, handouts into interactive online ones. I feel like this is one of the many challenges that we face as educators, in knowing what tools are out there for one, but just how to get that interaction in an online setting basically. So the presentation design is somewhat contradictory because it's a whiteboard and not an interactive one, but it looks nice, so we'll carry on. So to start off with, who am I basically? So I started off my learning technology career in a further education college as a learning technologist. So as a learning technologist, I supported educators in sourcing and using learning technology more effectively. So that includes stuff around VLE, virtual learning environment, actually creating some online resources, and again using classroom technology for delivery and assessment purposes. So now I'm in HE at Nottingham Trent University. So I'm kind of like not doing the same role, but it incorporates elements, but I'm more, I'm in a bigger setting now, a lot bigger. So I'm involved in more of a consulting sort of side of things, and again supporting academics and non-academic, so that's professional services. It's a university-wide sort of role. So that's like using the effective use of digital technology and developing their like wider digital capabilities. So again, that includes like the VLE, other tools like PebblePad, Office 365, classroom technology, and e-learning creation tools, which I started doing recently. So I won the Learn Technologist of the Year award in 2016 for the Association for Learn Technology, and I recently just wrote a book on Learn Technology for FE teachers and assessors. So that's now available as of September 2018. So pretty much the content of the topic is kind of like taken from the book in some sense. So if you like what I'm talking about, it actually appears in the book, but it's obviously got more guidance and models and guidance around it. So it's a bit more in depth than this webinar. So I always like to start off with a bit of a barrier or a bit of a problem. So recently I wrote an article for FE News that covered a number of questions that my book kind of like addresses basically. There's two in particular that I've chose for this webinar because I feel are very prominent. So before I go into those, I'll just show you quickly the article, just so you know what to search on if you want to see it later. So if you type on Google FE News Daniel Scott, I'm sure it'll appear. But I'm not going through the entire article, but it just discusses the challenges that we're facing in FE, and really relate to the training sector as well. So you can see the questions there that I kind of raised. So I've kind of like trimmed two out there what I want to focus on. So the first one, how do I choose the right digital technology for my subject and learners? And well, before I go on the second one, so that's always a very challenging one because we can use digital technology, but do we know if we're using it right, and is it having the right impact on our teaching practice and for our learners? Is it having the right learning experience, that sort of thing? Do we know it's working? Is it working well? Again, just that impact sort of thing. For the second one, how do I go about creating my own e-learning activities and digital resources? So there's a lot of free online tools out there that can do a job, and you might be using some already, but I tend to find that some people think it's a specialist sort of skill in doing this, and you're right, it actually is. There's specialist software that can actually do this sort of thing, but I'm going to be showing later a free online tool that doesn't require that and has really good interactive and purposeful outcomes. So we'll just move on. So kind of addressing the first one about using digital technology for the right job basically. So these elements are showing on the screen now. These are from Daniel Lodlard, and again the feature in my book which has a little bit more detail about it. So when we think about using digital technology, we kind of want to be thinking about how we want to approach it, its use. So it might be one of these things you might want to use it for, or it might be a couple of them or more. But we'll start off with the first one, so acquisition and assimilative. So that's just like reading text, watching videos, just listening to audio. We're not doing much at this point. We're just literally just viewing things, should we say. So the discussion and communicative, so that's like having those conversations, articulating ideas, asking questions, receiving questions, just generally responding to each other. Investigative, so that's more like research sort of thing, so just finding and handling and dealing with information. Practice and experiential, so that's like the theory to practice, so whatever our learners have learnt. Well, it could be about yourself, to be honest, these elements, how you might want to learn technology for yourself. But so that theory to practice, so whatever you've learned, can you apply it immediately into that work or formal setting, the learning by doing sort of thing, and through experience. Collaborative / interactive, so that's participating, working together on something like a shared outcome. So it was quite similar to the discussion and communicative one, but this one's more about the collaboration, producing something as a result, and we're all working to the same goal, so to speak, and exchange all that information in between. Productive, so we're saying producing something tangible, so that could be a document, or it could be something more interactive like a video or something, but yeah, like a work product as such. That's what we're looking for at a productive stage, or even this statement. So the message here is, so you've just come across learning technology of some sort, or just a general digital technology. So it's thinking about what is your goal, what are you trying to do with it, what you're just generally trying to achieve, or what is the pedagogical problem that you're trying to address, and think about these. So which one of these, or a few of these, can really help you to deliver your teaching through the technology. So thinking more about that in these elements, because sometimes when we come across digital technology, we just think, or not think, but tend to use it without any particular purpose, or just to fill a gap of some sort. But really, using digital technology, or an example, learning technology, we need to have a pedagogical purpose. We need to lead with that. It's something I debate with myself quite a lot when we come across learning technologies. We need to think about that. It's always about pedagogy, that should come first, but sometimes you need to see what the technology can actually do and be capable of doing before you can actually think about the pedagogy. So it's like that chicken and egg sort of thing, but really it's pedagogy first and leading with that and teaching through it kind of thing and facilitating that. So hopefully these statements really can help you to frame your thinking around how you're going to approach these things. So there's this model that I've got, again, features in the book. So display, engage, participation. So as I said before, some of the things like the display, which is like viewing stuff. So when we're using digital technology, so this is like, think about what you're currently doing as well. So am I using a piece of digital technology just for students to view information? So that could be like documents, just online information, just videos, just general multimedia sort of things. We're not doing anything with it at this particular stage. So the engage, so that's about learners taking your content and repurposing it, but not like a fully exploring it as such. And just not in depth. So that's, well, I'll come to that a little bit later, because you can see it's annotated with some suggestions. But yeah, we're not doing much at that stage. We're just like interacting with it and they've done something with it, but not fully, so to speak. So participation, so that's like that collaboration, that interaction sort of thing, but a more like a higher level. So we want the students to be creating content, so whatever it is that you're using, that we're taking that content, we're repurposing it, we've created some sort of new knowledge. So it's more looking down at that list just before this slide, about productive and production, creating something, and that theory to practice. So the more practical, more involved things you can do. So as you can see around the model, it's just been annotated with some suggestions of like digital technology. So I try to take a moment just to think about what digital technologies you are using, and just look at this model and think, are you using those purely just to display stuff? It requires not much from learners to get involved in that. Is it engaging? So with like you presenting something or doing something through digital technology, and they've taken it, but we're not really doing that much with it. Or is that participation where we actually are involved and collaborating with each other, producing something? So just take a moment to think about how you're using, what's your approach currently. So on the display then, so some suggestions on there, what might be happening already, or what you could be doing with that, because this is about your journey as well. If you're new to using learning technology, you might want to just start with a display and then progress around these. You don't want to like just jump in straight away. You need to think things through first, because like I've just said before, learning technology needs to be used with purpose, not just for the sake of it kind of thing, or just to dazzle kind of thing. So display, so hand out some of the LE. So learners not doing anything with that stage, we're just downloading or just reading it, whatever that may be. looking at web pages, watching videos, looking at a whiteboard, a bit like you're doing now. I'm just displaying something. Lecture capture, that's more about capturing what's happening in the classroom, but it's what you do with that video afterwards, so to speak, or even in it. Visualizers, that's a modern projector. Again, it's that displaying thing. Prezi and Haku Deck, some technologies there that you can do presentations through. So then we move on to engage. So to me, that's more about the curation. So that's, we're taking my information, doing a little something with it, but not fully. So social media tools there that you might be using. I want to explore Pinterest, Piltree, Scoop.it, note taking like Evernote, social bookmarking like Digo and Delicious. So when we move to engage and participation, then it's, you might be thinking about learners doing this individually, or it might be working together. So it's kind of like where this joins up now kind of thing, or even throughout, to be honest. But so we're looking at reflection between these two now. So that's like blogging tools or e-portfolio tools to reflect on what we've learned and how we can improve and what we're going to do next, that sort of thing. So in participation, so this is around interaction. So e-learning objects, I'll show that in a few moments. How to create some interactive online resources, which can include interactive videos, drag and drop, hotspots. You might be using QR codes. I want to explore QR codes for active learning, live polling, where you've got your questions we display on the board and you can see all the responses from learners when they answer them through their devices or even online. Multimedia production, so again it's creating those videos, not just videos but just something a bit more interactive. So I put YouTube Studio down there, it's a good tool to do that. Screencast videos to capture your screen. Or devices and apps that they can record and allow learners to create things. And last but not least, it's all around the communication, collaboration, the sharing and the social part. So we've got Skype there, forum discussions that you might find in your VLE, Office 365, so you've got the OneDrive document storage in there, Microsoft Forms, which is good for formative assessment, very good. Teams, so that's kind of like creating like a bit of a project group, and you can like discuss things on there, work on documents together at the same time. Just a bit like OneDrive but a bit different. Yammer, it's more around like a community of practice, an online group. And you've got Google Drive stuff, which does a similar sort of thing to what I've just mentioned. An interactive whiteboard, getting learners to come up and contribute to the board and get involved, not just actually look at it. So hopefully that's just give you a few things to think about. It's a nice little brief model that can hopefully help your thinking and practice. So I'm just going to show you now this tool that I've been raving about, which is H5P. And before I do that, so just a little bit of background about it in a sense. So it's free. Obviously go to that website with a link there at the top. Create account, all that sort of thing. So what it basically does, from my approach, you can take your static and downloadable documents, like the thing I mentioned, like your handouts. So you're not actually required to create anything new. It's not any more workload for you to create or write more material. Take what you've got, the handouts, your PowerPoints, take out some of the theory parts to it. You might want to think about doing a drag and drop activity, a bit more theory sort of thing, and an activity. And then end with an activity, a summative sort of little thing. So that's how I approach it. So just giving them a document just to read, or in some cases not even read, or just to download. Make something interactive, like a self-paced online activity. So requires a little technical knowledge. Like I was saying before, some stuff like e-learning authoring software is very specialist and requires specific skills to use. To me, this it doesn't require any technical skills as such. Only the learning curve in using, understanding what each function does and how you can create things. So just expect that, but it's not in a really high-end technical way, and just not that specialist. To me, it's got powerful interactions, which you'll see. It's got the drag and drops, the hotspots. It's just got a lot of things. The interactive video, which I'll show you. It's just really good. So do check it out. It can be somewhat shallow in the sense that you've got interactions on there and you can put your material in there, but you might think some of it might be quite surface stuff. But excuse me, perhaps for you to think about how you can make it not so shallow. But yeah, some of it just could be seen as that. but I'll let you make your own judgment on that. So yeah, like I said, you can reuse the existing content you already got. It's not, you're not asked to be creating anything else as such in terms of material. Provides more ownership. So instead of you asking someone to create something, you've got the ownership to create your account, create the content, maintain it, and make the amendments as you see fit and contextualize to your own subject. You're not asking someone else to create that for you, but if you are wanting specialist things, there will be teams and people that can actually do that and make more well-polished things, so do explore that as well. And then finally, you can embed these objects into your VLE, just like a YouTube video, so you're not downloading something, uploading something up, unless you're very lucky and you've got the plugin for your VLE, which doesn't require you to go to a website. You can actually create content within the VLE, but for here, we've just got the website, and there's no login required for students, learners for accessing that content. You just embed like a YouTube video, so to speak. Right, so let's just go to H5P. Right, so this is the examples and downloads section. So there's three main ones at the top: course presentation, interactive video, memory game. If you go further down, I'll just show you how to access this page. So go to the H5P website, then select the examples and downloads, and all the features there. And as you can see, there's an absolute load of interactive things there that you can use. So I'll let you explore that in your own time, but yeah, do check it out. So I'll just show you a couple of examples of two of my favourites and the most popular ones: the course presentation and interactive video. So if I just go to my account, I'll just log in first. Right. So I've actually been doing a workshop on using H5P at Nottingham University, so it's like the online part, so I can use this bit of a flipped approach in a sense. My preamble, the theory parts outside through H5P, but also gives an example of what the possibilities of H5P has got. So as you can see, it's a bit like PowerPoint in the sense you've got the slides, got information on there. I can add buttons in there. Let's just go through a few of these slides. So you can start your text like that. Have images in backgrounds, you put hyperlinks in, more buttons. Try not to put too much text in, because obviously when we read online, it's a lot different. So keep the key points in only. You put images in there, and this content's actually from the book again. So if you're interested in some of this stuff in guiding yourself how to create effective online resources, please do check it out. There we go. Right, so drag and drop here. So it's just thinking about how you can take existing content, instead of just having bullet points, make those into questions. I'm not filling them all in, but yeah, and you can check in retry that at the bottom. Enter text, and you can actually download that towards the end. It's like an exportable text area, so whatever's entered for the learner or user, you can download that as well. So hopefully you can see what it's capable of doing. So a bit of theory, some interactive things in there. Like you can embed videos through the buttons, which links to H5P. Yeah, it's just about storyboarding and things, but yeah, hopefully you get the idea. You can actually print, slides as well. So I'll let you check that out in your own time. But that's course presentation. It's good for consolidating your material and then putting some interactive things in there as well. So this is an example that I did in a previous row with the interactive video. So this is a YouTube video. So again, you're using existing material you've already got. I'll play that. I'm not playing it all. You can see at the bottom there, there's some circle markers. And you'll see it just stops. When it reaches that marker, it'll automatically stop and it'll come up with a button to ask questions. Same before, you can put your answer in and check it. They're all different. Let's just look at a few more.
Epic journey around Australia to the Java Sea.
Yeah. So that's drag and drop, answer in there. And you get the idea, you could check it at the bottom as well. And I'll just show the last one.
Feeds humans but protects life in our seas.
So this one, you have to enter the right word in and then check it. I can't remember what those words are now, but yeah, you can do that as well. So the good thing about interactive video one is that videos are passive, and learners would usually watch them. I mean, you might put some questions underneath for them to answer, but this adds a layer of interaction where it automatically pauses, comes up with questions, and gets them to think about what they've actually just watched and just gained from it. So you're probably buzzing with ideas now on what kind of questions you can ask in learners through with videos and things. It does a lot more, but it's just a little example that I thought I'd just show you about. So, like I said, there's more guidance, what I kind of mentioned in the book, but please do check H5P out. It's a really good free online tool. But just on that note, you can go on and create accounts online for free, but it might be worth checking with your eLearning administrator, see if you've got a plugin for it or can have a plugin, and just double check that you can actually embed the H5P content into the VLE. Should be okay, but it's just worth running through your administrator or the IT department. And even check through GDPR and things like that, just to be on the safe side. Right, so we're coming towards the end. So if there's anything that I've mentioned, not mentioned, or not specifically mentioned, or you've not caught what I've said, so you can ask me questions through Twitter on the handle there, or through LinkedIn, Tim's profile. You can message me through there, or my email address. And if it's just popped up, that's the book that I've mentioned. You've got a discount as members for it if you want to purchase that. It's got a hashtag there as well, where all the discussions, what I've been sharing out on Twitter in relation to that. But there's a blog post there that tells a bit more information about how and why I created the book, and around the needs around it, because it's not really been done before at this level. Because usually learning technology books are quite theory focused and very high-end sort of books. So this is very practical and easy to read, really. There's a link to Amazon there, the publishing website, and then we get a link to the Twitter there with recent shares that I've been doing about it, and then there's the reference at the bottom. So please do check it out, but then also please do get in touch with me.
So that's all for the presentation today. I hope you found some of this information useful, and thank you for joining us. Daniel has assured me he will be available on Twitter now if you'd like to ask him any questions. As well as the information earlier on the digital framework and enhanced teaching platform, in that post-event email I'm going to send you, you'll also receive the following. So a link to a webinar that Daniel's just produced called Enabling and Empowering Academics to Create Digitally Interactive E-Learning Content with H5P. So that's one he's delivered yesterday for the DigiLearn sector community. It's about the approach he's taken at his university with H5P, and it includes pedagogical reasons and some examples. He says he's also written an article in the Teaching Times called Creating Interactive Resources for the Primary Classroom. Now, even though it's aimed at primary education, he says there are some principles and explanations there that are valid for the FE and skills sector. So we're going to put a link in there as well for you to download. Now, if anyone is in the East Midlands or Yorkshire region and wants to hear more from Daniel, you can contact him and ask him to come and speak at your provider to support teachers or students on initial teacher training programmes or education and training qualifications, or anything else you can think of that relates to learning technology. Now, if you are looking at purchasing that book, he does have some signed copies left over from an event he went to recently, and he can arrange for those to be purchased for £15. All you need to do is contact him, and I'll put his email address in that email as well. So thank you again for listening to all of that information, and we hope you found it useful and that you join us at another webinar in future. Take care.